So for my final project, I'm going to be making hot sauce, and we're going to be doing 3 different fermentation ways. So the first one's going to be a dry brine. We're going to put whole peppers in, and I've got jalapenos and serranos, onion and garlic to put in there. And the dry brine will just have salt in it to draw out the moisture. Then we'll have a wet brine, and it'll be the same thing. It'll be whole peppers. And then the last one will be a mash, and we'll use the food processor for that. So then the pepper has more surface area and more time to ferment, and it has a different flavor. First, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean the peppers. This one has got a little bit of a bruise spot, so we're gonna cut that off. The whole goal of this process is to get the correct bacteria to grow, the safe bacteria that creates the fermentation process. Over here, I've got all 3 of my salts. So this one is 18 grams for the wet brine, and then the dry brine and the mash are both 22 grams of salt. Over here, I've got garlic the garlic that I peeled. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but I've got my jars labeled with what brines we're doing on them. And then all that's left is we've got to add our garlic into the jars. So we're gonna add our wet brine salt, which is gonna be the 18 grams. And we're gonna mix it in with our 1 cup of water. Starting with 1 cup. So we filled it up to this line right here on the jar with our salt water solution, and then we're just gonna put the top on. So I'm just pouring my salt for my dry brine on the top of the onions. I pulled the garlic out that I put in here when I was just separating it. So that's what it looks like. Now we're gonna put the garlic back in. And so what this is gonna do is as it starts to ferment and break down, that salt is gonna work its way down and help ferment throughout the process. It's very important to sanitize everything that you're using, especially when it comes to fermenting, because you're promoting good bacteria growth and not bad bacteria growth. So I've got my food processor here. It's all sanitized and cleaned. So we're gonna dump this in here. Okay. I think I'm at a consistency that I'm happy with, because we are gonna end up blending this all again later once it's fermented. And I didn't get all my onions out earlier, but that's fine because those are small enough that they'll break down over the next 3 weeks. But that is what that looks like. So I've got all my finished brines right here, the wet, the mash, and the dry. This is what they all look like. So I'm gonna put these on my counter at home, and I will be burping these 2 daily for the next 3 weeks until I bring them into class. And then the next time you'll see me, I'll be blending these up. Okay, so this is what they look like after fermenting. Today is Saturday the 21st, and these were started on 2/8. So this is the wet brine. A lot of the onion has kind of dissolved. The peppers have turned colors, and they're starting to blister. You can't really tell because of the jar, but this one, I don't know if you can see it with this lighting, but there's like a clear line where the mash got oxygen and where it didn't, which was really interesting. Oh, there's a clear picture of the line. And the dry brine, look at that. The peppers are blistered in there. The garlic's fermenting. This had no liquid in it at the beginning. This is all just from the peppers and the onion. And I'm gonna pour this in the blender. Pour that in here. We've got our hot sauce on a medium heat, and we're just gonna let it sit over here. It's already starting to boil a little bit. So now we're gonna wash the blender and redo this process all over again, so then we can boil the next one. Okay, last but not least, the dry brine. There we go. And here we have the final hot sauce product. They all obviously yielded a little bit of a different amount. We tried to do I tried to do my best to make sure it was as close as possible. I haven't tasted them. I'm gonna do it with you. So it'll be an adventure for all of us together.